Hello, my friends. This is The Art of Prepping. I hope you guys are doing well today. So in this short video, I'm just going to go over a 5-point monthly checklist that I have. And this may not be something that you want to do. It may be that you just want to do a few of these things, but it's just to get you thinking. These are just some things that I do on a monthly basis. It makes things a bit better overall, in various ways, and I'll explain. So the first thing I'd like to do monthly is to check my food and water in my vehicle. I don't keep very much food in my vehicle, but I do keep a bit of water, and I like to switch it out monthly. Now, some people will say that's kind of excessive every month to switch it all out, but it just depends on where you live, and what time of the year it is, because heat tends to kind of really mess with food. And so, especially during summer, I think it's very critical and it's just important and smart to switch out your food monthly. At least I do that, and I've had really good results. And then when it comes to water, your water stored in your vehicle, especially if it's stored in plastic containers, can typically last many months. But what I like to do is switch it out every month so it's fresh, so that the water isn't flat, so it doesn't lose its oxygen. And also that the plastic doesn't start to leach into the water, so you get that aftertaste. And it's not healthy anyways to be drinking water that has plastic that's been leached into it. So it's super simple. It just takes a few moments to switch out some food and water, no big deal. But you may be in a situation that you do this every couple months, not every month. But that's just up to you. Another thing I like to do monthly is to check and to test my security alarms and fire alarms. It just takes literally a few seconds to do this, on the fire alarms or the smoke detectors, you can just push the button, right, and test it. In terms of the security system, you can simply, it depends on your system, how to do it, but there's typically a way to test. Just to make sure everything is connected, okay, and the sirens are connected, and because normally your siren doesn't go off, so sometimes you just don't know if it's gonna work when you need it to work. So once a month is not that big of a deal. Now, I know some people who like to do it every couple months. It's all your preference, but to me, it's easier to be on a rhythm and to keep it into more of a habit to do it monthly. Another thing I like to do is to shoot a box of ammunition through my self-defense weapon, my main weapon. Now, for you, it may be a shotgun, it could be a rifle, it could be a handgun, whatever it is. But maybe shoot a box once a month at the minimum. If you have a range at your house, use that. If you don't, go to a range. But reinforce and continue to build on your muscle memory so that you're very fluid in how you use your weapon in case you ever had to save your life or to save the life of a loved one. Another thing is to take a longer walk. This is something that I do. People have other ways of doing this. Sometimes it's, lifting heavier weights and all this. But once a month, I like to go for a longer walk and really push myself. Do something that's like 2 or 3 times more intense than normal and just be really worn out. And this to me kind of helps introduce a little more stress physically. And I think it's good to stress the body a little bit every once in a while. Not all the time, but every once in a while. And I do have another little thing I do, but I don't really recommend this because I don't think it's the healthiest thing. But once a month, sometimes even twice, but at least once a month, I stay up all night, in the sense of 24 hours minimum. I stay up. I don't go to sleep. And sometimes I'm a night bird anyway, so I'm up really late. But I'm talking about just staying up at least 24 hours straight. And that introduces also a little more stress to the body and the mind. And over time, though, your body kind of learns how to deal with that. So you learn how to cope with it. It's not the most healthy thing, though, so I'll put that out there. So that's why I try not to do it very much. Maybe once a month is about, really all I should do, if any at all. But I have noticed though that it's a lot easier to deal with sleep deprivation after you do this, for several years, once a month or so. You just kind of your body kind of just knows, oh, we're staying up a little bit later this time, and it deals with it. The last thing I want to say is that I'd like to top off my rechargeable batteries. So this, it could be loose batteries, AA, AAA batteries, 18650 batteries, battery packs of all different sizes and types. And I just want to kind of point out that if you have other devices with built-in batteries, just top them off as well. It's not that difficult. Some people might say, hey, once a month is kind of too frequent. But what I've noticed is that it's so quick to recharge batteries that are just in storage for 1 month. It typically, sometimes some of these batteries only take maybe like 10 to 20 minutes to top off. So it's really easy to do versus if you waited like 3 or 4 months to top off batteries. We're talking about some of those could take a couple hours or more. And it just really kind of depends on the battery types too, of what kind of discharge, self-discharge that you'll get on batteries. And I have a few examples here. So the self-discharge rate for the average lithium-ion battery is about 3% a month. So not very much, really, 3%. So that's pretty impressive. So you could make an argument that maybe on your lithium-ion batteries, maybe like that are just stored like every 2 months, you top them off. But I just go ahead and just do it monthly. Your lithium polymer batteries, they self-discharge on average about 5%. Now, some of these percentages may be like a plus or minus 1% or so on top of that. So there's a little bit of wiggle room depending on how they're stored and all this. But once again, the lithium ion is about 3% a month self-discharge, and the lithium polymer is about 5%. Lead acid batteries are about 5% a month. NiCad batteries, about 20%. That's pretty substantial. NiCad batteries, 20%. And the nickel metal hydride batteries, and there's different formulas on this. This one's kind of interesting, but just the average run-of-the-mill nickel metal hydride battery, it's about 30% a month self-discharge. So really not that great. That's certainly a battery type that you'd want to top off monthly. So, just know that some specialized chemistries in some of these batteries will deviate from some of these numbers. And then I'll just give you an example. For example, the Eneloop batteries, just the standard ones, they only discharge about 6 to 7% a month, and compared to other nickel metal hydride batteries that we just talked about that typically discharge, self-discharge at about 30% a month. So there are some batteries that share some of the same chemistry, but they do have different self-discharge, timelines. So I find that, I find it to be pretty interesting. So there's really nothing wrong with nickel metal hydride batteries. I just think that, you should definitely look into, especially for batteries that are going to be stored, those kinds like the Eneloop that have a lower, and slower, self-discharge rate. It just makes sense. So once again, those Eneloop batteries, 6 to 7% is what the average person is getting of self-discharge per month. So it's not bad. It really isn't bad. But I think really the king of the roost here, obviously, when you just look at the numbers, lithium ion is just the best overall. If you're just trying to find a battery type that's just going to be the least, maintenance to keep up with. So literally you could get lithium ion batteries if it was available for that device that you have. And just, try to store those. And you could come back every 2 to 3 months and top them off, instead of monthly. But this is just interesting stuff. I just wanted to share this. Hey, thanks for your ongoing support. We'll catch you later.